My name is Denton Hunter, and I'm the head of African operations for Inderbitzin Solutions. In partnership with Ike Howard and Viola Ford Fletcher Foundation, my goal is to help implement a healthcare data platform as part of a top-down, bottoms-up healthcare strategy to serve both the underserved population of Ghana, the African continent, and eventually the rest of the planet. But before I go into any more detail, I would like to share a story. Several years ago, a co-CEO for one of the world's largest technology companies was diagnosed with an incurable form of cancer. This person was basically issued a death sentence. This person's oncologist happened to attend a cocktail party and ran into a colleague. He mentioned this specific case. His colleague was astonished and explained that he had just finished a similar case and had a positive outcome. And with that information passed along, the doctor was able to save his patient's life. The point of the story is regardless of how rich or poor you are, if information is not available to the healthcare community in a format that is understandable to each shareholder, doctor, patient, researcher, clinician, we cannot continue to strive forward and produce more life-saving positive outcomes. I personally will be involved in establishing a presence in Ghana to further education, job opportunities, and in time provide life-saving support to the people in Ghana and the rest of the planet. Please feel free to browse through the information that Mr. Howard will be providing and get perspective from Paul Inderbitzin himself and the rest of the solutions team. I very much look forward to putting boots on the ground and start this incredible journey.
In talking about the opportunity zone, is that really gives you the chance to take the underserved and make them the served. We really want to do these things for the right reason with the right people. The attraction of Africa is because it is the best possibility to actually accomplish that. With access, whether it's Africa or the United States or some of the richer countries, that working with them and showing what can be done accentuates the impact. Just like Peru, infectious diseases were a problem. He went out into the countryside, into the most difficult, least supported places in their country, and turned it into the hub of accomplishment with better results than were achieved anywhere else with the same disease. The beauty of Africa, first of all, you have tremendous diversity within a country. So when you prove a system out there, it can be scaled and it can be taken to the world. So breakthroughs there truly are ones that have implications well beyond the borders of one country. Second part is that the benefit for an entire country of having a healthy population is that that's a necessity for growth and expansion in a constructive way, for upward mobility. Now, these things directionally have been done before. This is not something that's never happened. Japan, China, there's other examples where countries that had populations and positionings economically that were not in the wealthiest positions. They were populations that had issues as far as keeping pace with worldwide competition. They were able to, in some ways, take their disadvantaged position and turn it into an advantage, because they could redesign an approach to how they did business, how they did innovation, how the population worked in their education, that wasn't up against, and this is a good example in healthcare, not up against the obstacles, not against the legacy systems, not against the entrenched way of doing things, that you could really leapfrog into an approach that was competitively better than what the wealthiest countries at that time were doing. A lot of times very established systems have trouble adopting. There's a lot of strength within those systems to actually dampen or almost make changes impossible. Where with a fresh start, good leadership in energetic population, you can, without those barriers, go to a level that's beyond the standard for other countries. So the incentives in the structure in much of the world, the world that has supposedly the most sophisticated healthcare system and structure, actually is counterproductive to some of the best things that can be done, the most leveraged things that can be done for the health of a population. The benefits to Ghana, the possibilities there for Ghana, Nigeria, and from their base in Africa, is that the entire world population right now is being underserved in health. It's being underserved in many ways, not the least of which is research, transparent information, how the research is set up, how results are being analyzed, how they are being translated to the population. If they go through, if they're politicized, if in the United States over 95% of healthcare research is being controlled by pharma. So their priorities, their business models, what works for them is what really dominates how the research is even being conducted. Then beyond that, they control, pharma controls then how the results are packaged. How it's being communicated actually to the journals, then exactly eventually what information gets in the hands of physicians, how the commercialization is handled, how the marketing is handled, and which goes into 3 of the 5 top lobbying groups in the United States by dollars would be hospital groups, the American Medical Association, and pharma. So they have a great deal of say on the entire system from beginning to end. But their priorities don't seem to map really well with the needs in maximizing health for the benefit of individuals and for the population. In the United States, the cost runs maybe twice on every measure what it does to even other wealthy countries. And by most measurements, the United States, as far as results, ranks about 10th or 11th in the world. That's kind of tangible proof that there's a great deal of room for improvement. If you look at Ghana setting the stage for the future, there's so much room to not only improve the health of Ghana, to use the best technology without the infrastructure restraints, without the legacy systems, without the obstacles being in place, but also be the hub of where you set the stage for how 7.5 billion people can actually benefit. What's needed to reinforce and spread these concepts effectively through the world is you have to have a philosophical basis. Organizing principles be explained as far as what your priorities are, why they're your priorities, what the people that we're gathering together, they're like-minded, what really drives them, what's the belief system. When you get to the Fletcher Foundation, Viola Ford, when you get to Demosophy, it provides actually the philosophical overlay that all of this activity can comfortably fit within. So not only it fits within, but it makes it understandable and spreadable. Just the same way that a religion can get followers, believers, has its organizing principles, and can get converts. This would be a high-level secular approach to an empowerment of people in harnessing resources, not the least of which is today's and tomorrow's technology, for the empowerment of people. So that approach to really sustain it, to move it forward and to expand it needs a philosophical basis. And that's really what's being provided by Viola Ford in being orchestrated and set out in an understandable way, in a way that can be communicated broadly by Demosophy. The flip side of that, for very good reason, you can have socialism, you can have Marxism, you can have capitalism, you can have a conservative approach, you can have a liberal approach. This is actually something that, to my mind, explained well, is actually different. This is an approach that starts with the idea of that tools, leadership, organization, civilization should actually be a vehicle for empowering and improving the lives of people. As simple as that. You can simply look at how technology is being used. You could look how power centers are being used in, it doesn't really, you can tell it's not running smoothly. Let's take the wealthiest countries in healthcare. It's obviously not running smoothly and optimally for the health and the benefit of the population. So something has to be broken. In what's broken are the priorities, the focus, in a huge part is the communication and the access to information. The possibilities for Ghana, for Nigeria, for the African continent to really breathe the rebirth of a movement of that empowerment, however you label it, or what under whatever umbrella, very good people from diverse backgrounds, they have given it, have a lot of experience and given a lot of thought, are reinforcing that same opinion that Africa is the place where the rebirth can take place. The countries that are the hub for the breakthrough now become the center of excellence, the center of influence for the way that technology is used for people today and tomorrow. And if this is the breakthrough is being done in Africa, it will be a hub for that development the same way that Silicon Valley was the hub for the digital revolution and for technology and for the way that information is gathered and used. That this is actually going to has the potential to be more potent than Silicon Valley, because this is using today's tools and tomorrow's tools to actually improve the lives, improve the voice, improve the future of almost everyone on Earth. And for Africa to be the hub of that is going to recreate Silicon Valley and beyond in a very healthy way. If you're the leaders, if you're the country that is behind that movement that moves to 7 billion people, that obviously, appropriately gives you a incredibly enhanced position of where the research is going to be done, where the center of excellence is, what is going to be the concentration of where this activity takes place for the benefit of 7 billion people. So you'll be serving not just one country or even one continent. What you're doing will transcend to everyone. Africa, Ghana, with their receptivity and their leadership, is actually the best place in the world for a breakthrough. This is interesting because some of the people most knowledgeable with the current health system all are in total agreement of that. So this is not being done out of the context, is not the goodness of everybody's heart. This is because if you want to do something different, if you want to make a breakthrough and an improvement in healthcare and change the direction of it, Africa is the perfect base to do it from. Have the beachhead for the future in Africa. If you have that platform started, you will attract the talent, just like Silicon Valley did. you'll attract the resources, you'll attract the talent, you'll attract the investment to enhance and expand your vision globally. And that's one of the attractions for Ghana and for Africa. This is meant to be in a very scalable, expandable vision. You're talking about improving the health for 7 billion people. Now, there's 7 billion people that actually will like that idea, that'll support that idea. And with communication in that base, you will be the hub of making that translation. So population health, things that can be done with groups, that where it can be proactive, where they can participate in actually improving their own health, keeping themselves healthy. By definition, then they don't have a great deal of economic appeal if you're maximizing your financial rewards. The financial rewards are going to gravitate to an approach and a system that is the most expensive, hard to duplicate, that you can protect and charge a great deal for. Where if simple examples of clean water, exercise, controlling diets, eating in a healthy, controlling weight, doing things that are proactively help your immune system, and use the therapeutics to medication, things that are not incredibly expensive. Be proactive and prevent health issues from either arising or getting to a critical state, because you're then engaging the population as part of the health equation. The impact of that can be extremely strong, and a lot of times very much underestimated. In some of the richest countries, it's not more than just underestimated, it would be counterproductive to the current healthcare models, the current healthcare system. For instance, if you found a way to reduce costs dramatically and reduce hospitalizations by 50%, that would be incredible and show great results for the population. It'd be a financial disaster to the healthcare systems in most of the wealthy countries. You can see a lot through the pandemic. What kinds of things should actually have been the focus of research? How important should have been the therapeutics? How important should have been what actually saves lives? What's the effect on children? What's the effect on people with comorbidities? What's the impact on the elderly? When you had Omicron surface South America from Africa, very quickly, it seemed like there was a good understanding in Africa what they were dealing with, that it was actually something that was not spread easier, but wasn't as deadly in how to actually a population can and should respond to it. But that's not how many other parts of the world responded. They went through what looked more like a narrative than what was in the best interest of the population. They shut down for a while, even the transportation and the connection with Africa is a result of that process. And I think that could be looked at as a symptom where it can and should be done much better. That if your priorities are different, with the right people doing the right things at the right time, you're going to come up with answers that, first of all, are much better for the general population. And two, if you're the center of that activity today and tomorrow, that is a very attractive place to be as far as a country is concerned, where you can start to be the hub of how technology is harnessed, how research is done, the cutting edge of what really should be healthcare for the future when it's looked at from the viewpoint of the whole population. What we would want to bring to the table are some of the most experienced technology people that there are. The thing that's unique about them, they have unique set of experience. They share a unique vision. First of all, this group is really doing something that they deeply believe in. They're a group that is more on a mission than doing a job. That shared vision, a big part of it is how today's technology and tomorrow's technology is actually going to be used. Our vision is that these tools should be used to empower people. As we see this is a collaboration. We're not trying to sell a product. What we want to do is offer a partnership. We want to offer an alternative path to what much of the other countries in the world are actually doing, whether by design or by accident or by driven by financial models. But we're seeing a different approach that is much more in the benefit and much more geared to improving the lives of the people. The tools and the things that are available, from the way research is done, the way technology is being used, the way that various things are harnessed and actually applied, that we could actually change that approach, focus it on maximizing the benefit, and come out with very potent responses, but different than what you would do if you're simply trying to maximize financial gain. And then going back to the partnership, to actually achieve this, and that's why you're circling back to Ghana, Nigeria, Africa, you really need to have government support. To do this for a population, the government and the leadership within the country has to want to turn this into a reality. In our vision, we have defined information technology in IT as being integration and translation, because data is not of any value until you actually have it in usable form. You have it integrated. It can be on a modern platform, and all of a sudden now it's available to use the most high-powered tools on it. When you use those tools, now you have the availability of turning it into a translation, is that you're doing that with the idea of making it understandable, usable, invaluable to everyone. You, Ghana, are the place that can actually be the base for this. This is what's needed from the people's perspective. For 7+ billion people, this is in their best interest, and this is the place where it can all start. That's what we're proposing. We want to have our African headquarters in Ghana. We want to build the indigenous position there. But what happens is that you leverage the resources and the people who are there. You have 57 universities. You have a whole group that can expand, in a country that can expand. And it's more than just a few researchers. It's more than just one little building. It's actually a whole population center that, if you're the hub for setting the tone for the future, you're talking about, in a good way, developing and changing the entire country. It's the leverage of what you're developing. It's what you're creating. We're not going to be 100,000 people. We have no desire to be, as Inderbitzin Solutions, more than 100 people. What we want to do is, in Ghana, is actually leverage up the resources that are there and build that for the future. There's the infrastructure. There's going to be the hub. That's going to be the center of where this takes place. In our view, is actually an entire team that covers all these dimensions. Shared vision, multidisciplined team, all pulling in one direction, that takes a message for the world, out to the world, as a coordinated team. And that's what's going to have the highest degree of potency, that together we marshal resources, adequate funding, partnerships, but we do it on our basis. It's our blueprint, it's our vision, it's your country, and under your umbrella, this is what we're proposing are the phases that takes place to make a change of health for literally everyone. That's the idea of the team going to the world for both adequate funding and resources, that we become the magnet to attract the people, the resources, and we need especially to build the platform, get it established, and then we think it actually will, the rest is going to be history. Once that breakthrough is made, all of a sudden the expansion and stuff is going to be organic from there. Because of Inderbitzin Solutions and the Ford Fletcher Foundation, it can be done on a charitable basis. It can be done on some sort of a private equity kind of basis, or a combination of the two. You got tremendous flexibility on how to get phase one actually adequately funded. Our approach is to identify health data, to be ad-free, to de-identify health data, in that its purpose is to actually bring back the best possible health information to the individual. It's not to use that data as then a marketing vehicle, an influence vehicle, a control vehicle for a few people being applied to the many. Transparent information, that means understanding how data is being used, how it's being analyzed back to every individual. And it's a whole different mindset. That's where you come to from the Ford Fletcher Foundation and the philosophy that overlays it. If you can take the path for empowerment and find leadership in a country or countries that want to move that forward and take that approach, you can set the stage for actually everyone else. The population is actually the valued client, that these tools, this information should be accurate, should be transparent, it should be available to everyone. We see this as an unmatched opportunity. We're not here to sell a product. What we want to do is offer a partnership, a vision, and a path to see if you agree with that and want to work with us in that direction, and that's a path and a vision you want to embrace for your country. And we appreciate the ability to be able to lay that out, explain that, have your time and attention, and then simply see if that is a fit with you, then we would be very excited about collaborating and turning that into a reality. Potential here is it's a reality that's going to be unmatched by anywhere else in the world.